ever wondered how ancient texts got so detailed? I mean, not just describing mythical beings, but even, like, telling you exactly how you might join them in the next life.
Hmm.
Today, we're taking you on a journey really into an ancient world, a realm where these powerful, magnificent beings called supanna soar. And destiny, well, it turns out it's meticulously shaped by intention and generosity.
It's truly a fascinating glimpse, isn't it, into a complex cosmological framework.
Yeah.
Our source material for this deep dive, it comes from a unique collection of ancient texts, specifically from the Supaṇṇavaggo.
Supaṇṇavaggo.
Yeah, these are discourses that originated from Savatthi. And these texts, they don't just tell stories. They provide a very specific, almost like a blueprint for existence.
Okay, so not just stories, a blueprint, a practical guide, even if it's ancient. So our mission today is to unpack these texts, right? Understand the characteristics of these remarkable supent, and maybe most importantly, discover the precise conditions and actions the texts outline for people who, wish to align their future with these powerful beings.
Exactly.
Think of it as your shortcut to understanding a very particular and I think pretty intriguing ancient worldview. Let's break this down.
Okay. So let's start with the Supaṇṇa themselves. Who are they? The texts characterize them as, well, powerful, long-lived, beautiful, and just full of happiness.
That's pretty good.
Doesn't. Now, the texts don't go into huge detail about their physical form, but the name Supaṇṇa itself, well, it often gets associated with powerful birds or maybe the mythical Garudas, in the broader ancient traditions.
Right, like giant eagle figures, something like that potentially. But what's really fascinating here, right from the start, is in the Suti Sutta. This is Sutta 1.1. It immediately classifies these beings into 4 distinct categories, and it's based entirely on their mode of origin, how they come into being.
4 types. Okay, that's interesting. It's not just one homogeneous group then.
No, not at all.
Tell us about these categories. Why does it matter how they were born?
It matters a great deal, as we'll see. So first, you have the Antejasupan, which means egg-born. Then there are the Jalabuja Supan. Those are womb-born.
Okay, egg-born, womb-born. Makes sense.
Then it gets a bit more unusual. The Sasidaja Supan. These are born from dampness or sweat. The text calls it moisture-born.
Moisture-born. Wow, okay.
And finally, the Opatika Supan. These are described as spontaneously born. They just sort of appear apparitionally.
Spontaneously born, just poof, pretty much. And this distinction, right from the beginning, it's crucial because, as the texts go on to explain, these different origins directly impact their abilities and, well, their standing in the hierarchy.
A hierarchy based on birth origin. That's
right.
Quite something. Does the text get into why a specific birth method grants certain powers? Is there some underlying principle?
It does, implicitly, by showing what they can do. It establishes a very clear pecking order. So the Haranti Sutta, Sutta 1.2, immediately highlights why these classifications are so important. It introduces another group of beings, the Nagas.
Ah, the Nagas, often depicted as serpent beings, right, or dragons sometimes.
Exactly, serpent-like beings. And the text states that Supanna are capable of carrying these Nagas away, like physically lifting and transporting them.
Okay.
But, and here's the key part, there's a clear gradient of power based on their birth type. It's not equal opportunity Naga carrying.
Huh? Okay, so let me guess. The egg-born Supan are at the bottom of this power scale.
You got it. An egg-born Supansha can only carry away an egg-born Naga. That's their limit.
Okay, 1 for 1.
But then, the womb-born Supan, the Jalabuja, they have a broader reach. They can carry away both egg-born and womb-born Nagas.
Ah, I see the pattern. So the moisture-born.
The Sasidaja, yeah. They can carry away egg-born, womb-born, and moisture-born Nagas. 3 types.
And the top tier, the spontaneously born ones, the Opapatika.
They're at the pinnacle. They possess the capacity to carry away all 4 types of Nagas, egg-born, womb-born, moisture-born, and even the spontaneously born Nagas.
Wow, that is incredibly specific. A whole power structure based purely on how you came into existence.
It really is. This level of meticulous hierarchy tied so directly to birth, it tells us so much about how they understood cosmic order, and individual potential within that order. It's a very specific map of power.
Okay, so we've got these fascinating Supaṇṇa, their different types, their powers over Nagas. It's a whole world. But, like we said, this deep dive isn't just about ancient creatures. It's about ancient aspirations. So for someone living back then, listening to these stories, the next question has to be, okay, how do I become one? How do I get that long life, beauty, happiness?
Exactly. And the texts anticipate that. The Dvayakāri suttas, which run from 1.3 through 1.6, they directly address this.
Oh.
The Bhikkhu, a monk, actually asks about the specific causes and conditions for rebirth among these different supaṇṇa after death.
And what's the answer? Is it complicated?
It's specific. There are several foundational conditions that apply pretty much across the board for rebirth among any of these supaṇṇa types. First, the individual must be dvayakāri.
Dvayakāri. What does that mean exactly?
Well, the text says dvayakāri by body, by speech, and by mind. It seems to mean acting in a certain way, expressing oneself in a certain way, and thinking in a certain way. What's really interesting is the texts here don't explicitly label these actions as good or bad in a moral sense we might use today. It just emphasizes being this way, dvayakāri. Acting, speaking, thinking consistently, perhaps.
Consistency. Okay. Not necessarily good actions, but a particular mode of being. That's subtle.
It is, and that's the first condition. The second condition is knowledge, or maybe belief. The person must have heard that the specific type of supaṇṇa they aspire to join, let's say, the egg-born ones, that they are long-lived, beautiful, and full of happiness.
Ah, so you need to know what you're aiming for. You have to have heard the sales pitch, so to speak.
You could put it that way. It suggests information and belief are key. You need to be informed about your goal and its perceived benefits.
Okay, so be dvayakāri. Hear about their good qualities. What else?
The final, crucial piece is intention. A strong, conscious wish or aspiration. The text puts it very directly. The person thinks, oh, may I be reborn among the guys? And they'd specify the type, like egg-born supaṇṇa after the body breaks up, after death.
So you really have to want it, actively desire that specific rebirth.
Absolutely. It highlights the profound role of conscious intention, of desire, in shaping one's future within this worldview.
So it's this combination, acting a certain way, dvayakāri, hearing about the goal, and then genuinely wishing for it.
That's the core formula presented in these particular suttas, a direct link.
Ah.
Hear, wish, be reborn, provided you're also dvayakāri.
That's already quite a detailed path. But you mentioned generosity earlier. Does that fit in here?
It does, and in a big way. The framework gets even more layered. It seems acting dvayakāri, hearing, and wishing might be the foundation, but generosity amplifies it, or perhaps solidifies it. This is where the Dhyaka suttas come in, and it's a surprisingly extensive section, running from Sutta 1.7 all the way to 1.46.
40 suttas, just on giving in relation to supaṇṇa rebirth.
40 of them, yes. The sheer, almost methodical repetition across these texts really hammers home how incredibly significant generosity was seen to be.
Wow. So what does that repetition tell us? That giving was really, really important.
Extremely important. It suggests it wasn't just, a nice thing to do. It was considered a deeply ingrained, almost ritualistic component of actively shaping your destiny towards this specific outcome. The fact that they meticulously detail the same 10 acts of giving for each of the 4 supanna types shows just how central this concept was.
Okay, so it's a layered approach. You need the intention, the dvayakāri state, the knowledge, the wish, and you need to be a giver. And they specify what to give. What are these 10 acts?
Yes, they list 10 distinct acts of giving. Performing these, if you also meet the other criteria we discussed, being dvayakāri, having heard, and wishing, leads to that desired rebirth among the supa. The list includes things like giving food, giving drink, giving clothes, basic necessities.
Right. Food, drink, clothing. Makes sense.
Then giving vehicles or transport, and also things that enhance life, you could say. Giving garlands or flowers.
No.
Giving perfumes or fragrances. And giving unguents or ointments.
Vilapanna. Perfumes and ointments. Interesting.
Yeah. And finally, providing shelter and comfort. Giving bedding or lodging. So giving dwellings or lodging, maybe slightly different types of shelter, and giving lamps or light.
That's a pretty comprehensive list. Covers basic needs, transport, some aesthetics, and shelter and light. It paints a picture of, well, really supporting someone's existence.
It does. It's not just random charity. These acts are presented as these additional factors, these concrete actions that align you with that desired rebirth. It creates this really holistic picture. Your actions, dvayakāri, your words implied in speech, your thoughts, hearing and wishing, and your generosity, all working together to shape your destiny within this specific ancient framework. Cause and effect, but very detailed.
So let's try and wrap this up. What can you, listening to this, really take away from this deep dive into the Supaṇṇavaggo? We've journeyed through these really fascinating ancient texts. We discovered the 4 types of Supaṇṇa: egg-born, womb-born, moisture-born, spontaneously born, and their varying powers specifically over the Nagas, the serpent beings, all based on how they were born.
Right, that's strict hierarchy.
Then we uncovered these incredibly precise, layered conditions for actually being reborn among them. It involves specific actions being dvayakāri and body, speech, mind. It involves hearing about them, wanting to be them.
That conscious wish, yeah.
And then this whole detailed list of 10 specific generous acts, giving food, light, lodging, even perfumes.
What's truly profound here, I think, isn't just the general idea of karma or cause and effect. We hear that a lot. It's the meticulous granularity, the way this ancient text maps specific tangible actions, like literally giving a lamp, to specific hierarchical rebirth outcomes.
Yeah, the level of detail is stunning.
It suggests a belief system where your personal agency, especially through these, well, almost ritualized acts of generosity, wasn't just encouraged, it was intricately codified. It was the path to a specific desired future.
So this ancient wisdom, it offers this really clear, really intricate map, consequences based on intention and action laid out.
Definitely. It encourages us maybe to reflect on how deeply rooted this idea of cause and effect and the specific power of generosity has been across different worldviews for so long.
And it leaves you with a thought, doesn't it? This deep dive showed how carefully one detailed worldview connected specific actions and intentions to your perceived future. It really makes you wonder, in our own lives today, how much do our consistent actions, our habits, and maybe our deepest desires, how much do they truly shape the worlds we find ourselves living in, and maybe even the kinds of relationships, the kinds of beings we attract or interact with?
That's definitely something to think about. How much are we co-creating our reality through consistent action and intention, even now?